now, your mind is not fully under your control. It decides when you feel lazy, when you delay, when you quit. You call it mood, but it's actually disobedience, and if your mind does not obey you, your goals never will. In this audiobook, you'll learn how to command your thoughts, override impulses, and build a mind that follows orders, not excuses. Stay with me, because today your mind stops negotiating and starts obeying. Discipline does not break in public, it breaks in private. Quietly, repeatedly. In the small negotiations you have with yourself every single day, you set the alarm. It rings, your mind speaks. 5 more minutes. You plan to start today. Your mind says, start Monday. You chose a priority task. Your mind whispers, check messages first. That is negotiation. And negotiation is the enemy of self-command. You think discipline fails in big moments. It doesn't. It fails in micro decisions, in silent bargains, in invisible delays. That's the key. Every time you negotiate with yourself, you weaken your authority. Every delay is a lesson you teach your brain. My commands are optional. Read that again in your mind. Your commands are optional because you made them optional. You have a choice. Obey your decision or obey your mood. You cannot obey both. A command delayed is a command denied. Say it again. A command delayed is a command denied. When you hit snooze, you are not gaining rest. You are training disobedience. When you postpone the workout, you are not saving energy. You are rehearsing avoidance. When you delay the hard call, the difficult email, the first page, the first rep, you are building a habit of hesitation. It's not about laziness, it's about conditioning. Your brain is always learning, always recording patterns. You either train execution, or you train execution, or you train escape. There is no neutral rep. That's the key. Look at real life. Someone says they want to write a book. They open the laptop. Then they adjust the desk. Check notifications, research tools, watch 1 video about writing. 2 videos. 3. They call it preparation. It's negotiation. Action was available. They delayed it. A command delayed is a command denied. You don't need their permission. You don't need perfect conditions. You don't need a better mood. You need immediate movement. Immediate execution is the first pillar of mental obedience. Here is the rule. When the decision is made, the body moves within 5 seconds. No debate. No emotional voting. Movement. Stand up. Open the file. Dial the number. Put on the shoes. Start the timer. You have a choice. Move now or train delay. People think discipline is built with big heroic acts. It isn't. It's built with small, fast obedience, tiny immediate actions. That's the key. You say you'll drink more water. Do it now. You say you'll organize the desk. Start with 1 object. You say you'll study. Open the book immediately and read 1 page. Small obedience creates identity. Identity creates consistency. It's not about intensity. It's about immediacy. Your mind will try to bargain. Expect it. It will offer you comfort, logic, and later, it will sound reasonable. That's the trap. I'll do it after I feel ready. No, you won't, because readiness is produced by action, not the other way around. You have a choice. Act first or wait forever. A command delayed is a command denied. Let's make this practical. From today forward, remove the phrase "in a minute" from your behavior. That phrase has destroyed more goals than failure ever did. Replace it with now. Not loudly, not emotionally, operationally. Now stand, now start, now send, now begin. That's the key. Here's a behavioral drill. Use it daily. It's called the first move rule. When you feel resistance to a task, your only job is to perform the first physical move within 5 seconds. Not finish, start. Want to work out? First move, put shoes on. Need to write? First move, open document. Need to clean. First move, pick up 1 item. Motion kills negotiation. Stillness feeds it. You don't need their permission. You don't need internal agreement. You need physical initiation. Most people wait for alignment. Thoughts, feelings, and desire all agreeing. That alignment rarely comes. Disciplined people don't wait for alignment. They create it through motion. It's not about feeling ready. It's about being decisive. Watch high performers closely. They don't spend energy arguing with themselves over basic actions. They reduce the gap between decision and movement. That gap is where weakness grows. Close the gap. You grow stronger. Extend the gap. You grow weaker. A command delayed is a command denied. Your brain respects speed. When you act quickly on your own instructions, your mind learns something powerful. This person means what they say. Self-trust increases. Internal resistance decreases. Execution becomes more automatic. That's the key. But when you delay, your brain learns the opposite. This person negotiates. This person can be talked out of their own goals. Resistance becomes louder next time. Because it worked this time, you trained it. You have a choice. Train obedience, or train excuses. Let's talk about postponed tasks, the message you will send later, the form you will fill tomorrow, the decision you will make soon. These are not neutral delays, they are discipline leaks. Each one drains authority. Create a new operating rule. If it takes less than 3 minutes, do it immediately. No list, no reminder, no postponement. This builds execution reflex. Execution reflex is more valuable than motivation. Motivation fluctuates. Reflex executes. That's the key. And understand this clearly. You are not being harsh with yourself. You are being clear with yourself. There is a difference. Harsh says insult, judge, shame. Clear says decide, act, move. We choose clear. You don't need their permission. Even if they is your emotional side. Especially then. Some days you will feel friction. Good. That is the training weight. When the mind says wait and you move anyway, that is a winning rep. Count those reps. Say it internally when you act fast. Rep. When you don't snooze, rep. When you start immediately, rep. When you send it now, rep. You are building mental muscle. A command delayed is a command denied. Burn that sentence into your operating code. By the end of this chapter, your new standard is simple. Decisions are executed quickly. Tasks are started immediately. Negotiation is recognized and shut down. You have a choice, fast obedience or slow self-sabotage. That's the key. Master this, and your mind starts to shift roles. It stops being your negotiator and starts being your instrument. You are not trying to feel disciplined. You are practicing immediate discipline. You stopped negotiating. Good. Now we remove the next illusion. The myth that motivation will save you. It won't. Structure will. Motivation feels powerful. That's why it's dangerous. It gives you emotional fire without structural support. It makes you start fast and quit quietly. It creates motion without durability. You don't rise on motivation. You fall to your systems. That's the anchor. Burn it in. Most people worship motivation because it feels good. It feels like progress, but feeling ready is not the same as being reliable. That's the key. Motivated people start. System-driven people finish. Watch the pattern. Someone watches an inspiring video, reads a quote, feels the surge. They plan everything. New schedule, new goals, new identity. For 3 days they execute hard. Then emotion drops, energy dips, friction appears, execution disappears. Why? Because motivation showed up, but no system was there to replace it. You have a choice. Build on emotion or build on structure. Structure wins. You don't need their permission. You don't need emotional intensity. You need repeatable design. It's not about hype, it's about discipline. Motivation says, I'll do it when I feel strong. Systems say, I do it at this time. Motivation says, today I'm inspired. Systems say, this is scheduled. Motivation negotiates with weather, mood, and sleep. Systems ignore them. You don't rise on motivation, you fall to your systems. Look at elite performers, athletes, military operators, surgeons, pilots. They do not ask how they feel before executing critical actions. They follow checklists, protocols, routines, sequences. Because feelings fluctuate, systems stabilize. A pilot doesn't say, I'm not motivated to run the safety check today. A surgeon doesn't say, I'll operate when I feel inspired. That sounds ridiculous because it is. Yet you do this with your goals every week. That's the gap. You treat your mission like a hobby. They treat theirs like an operating system. That's the key. You have a choice, hobby behavior or operator behavior. Let's get practical. A system is a pre-decided pattern of action that removes emotional choice. It tells you what to do and when to do it before your feelings vote. No voting, only execution. Example, motivation-based fitness. I'll work out when I feel ready. System-based fitness. I train at 7 a.m. Monday to Friday. No debate. Example, motivation-based writing. I'll write when ideas come. System-based writing. I write 500 words at 8 p.m. daily. No debate. It's not about desire. It's about discipline. You don't need their permission to build systems around your life. You need standards. And here's another truth. Systems feel boring. That's why they work. They remove drama. They remove spikes. They remove emotional storytelling. Boring is repeatable. Repeatable is powerful. Motivation addicts chase emotional spikes. Discipline builders install behavioral rails. Rails beat spikes. You don't rise on motivation, you fall to your systems. Motivated starters talk big. They announce goals, buy tools, tell friends. System-driven finishers go quiet. They install routines, adjust environments, track reps. One performs, one prepares to perform. You have a choice. Let's build your first execution system right now. Use the rule of fixed start times, not flexible windows. Fixed starts, not morning workout, but 6:30 a.m. workout, not evening study, but 8 p.m. study. But 8 p.m. study. Specific time removes negotiation. That's the key. Next, attach actions to triggers. This is called habit linking. After coffee, read 10 pages. After shower, plan the day. After dinner, review goals. Trigger, action, no debate. You are building rails for behavior. It's not about willpower. It's about design. Environment is part of the system. If your phone is near you, distraction is in your system. If junk food is visible, failure is in your system. If your workspace is cluttered, delay is in your system. Don't fight temptation. Remove it. You don't need their permission to redesign your environment. You need responsibility. Put the book on the desk. Lay out the clothes. Block the sites. Silence the apps. Make the right action easier than the wrong one. That's the key. Let's address a common lie. I work best under pressure. No. You work most emotionally under pressure. That is not the same as best. Systems remove last-minute panic and replace it with steady output. Steady beats intense. Intensity burns out. Steady compounds. You have a choice. Burn fast or build long, and understand this. Systems protect you on bad days. That's their real power. When motivation disappears, the system remains. When emotion drops, the schedule still speaks. The system says, we start now. No inspiration required. You don't rise on motivation. You fall to your systems. Write that phrase where you work, where you train, where you decide. Now, a daily system template you can use immediately. Fixed wake time. First hour protocol. Top task before distraction. Scheduled deep work block. Movement block. Review block at night. Simple, repeatable. non-emotional. Follow it even when you don't feel like it, especially then. That rep is worth more. That's the key. Motivation asks, do I feel ready? Systems ask, what's next? Answer that question daily. What's next? Not what's comfortable, not what's exciting. What's next? You don't need their permission to be systematic. You need commitment to repetition. And remember, a weak system beats strong motivation. Because a weak system still runs on low days, motivation doesn't. You are not trying to feel driven. You are installing automatic behavior. Automatic beats emotional. You stopped negotiating in the last chapter. Good. Now you stop depending on mood. Even better. Because mental obedience is not built on feelings. It is built on structure. You have a choice. Chase motivation or install systems. That's the key. You don't rise on motivation. You fall to your systems. Lock that in. Now that your actions are scheduled and structured, it's time to confront the next hidden enemy, your addiction to comfort. Your brain is not designed for greatness. It is designed for safety and efficiency. That means it is designed to choose comfort, not growth. Understand this clearly. Comfort is not neutral. Comfort is directional. It pulls you away from effort, away from friction, away from change. If you do not actively train against the comfort reflex, it will run your life by default. Comfort is expensive. Discipline is cheap. That's the conditioning phrase. Repeat it until it becomes instinct. Comfort feels free in the moment, but it charges interest later. Missed opportunities, weak habits, delayed progress, lower standards. Discipline feels costly in the moment, but it pays you back with strength, control, and results. You have a choice. Pay now or pay later. That's the key. Your brain constantly asks one silent question. What is easier? Not what is better, not what is right. Easier. Scrolling is easier than studying. Snoozing is easier than training. Excuses are easier than execution. So if you follow instinct alone, you will drift toward weakness. Not because you are broken, but because you are untrained. It's not about weakness, it's about discipline. Comfort is expensive. Discipline is cheap. Look at your daily patterns. You plan to read. You open your phone for 1 minute. 20 minutes disappear. You planned to train. The bed feels warmer than your goal. You planned to build. You start explaining why today is not ideal. That is the comfort reflex in action. Automatic, fast, persuasive, and here's the danger. It sounds like logic. Not laziness, logic. I need more rest. I'll start when I can focus better. I don't want to do low-quality work today. Comfort speaks in reasonable sentences. That's the trap. You don't need their permission, even when they is the voice of comfort inside your own head. You need interruption. You must interrupt the comfort reflex physically, not emotionally. Movement breaks, comfort loops. When you feel the pull toward easy behavior, stand up. Change rooms. Start the first step. Use your body to overrule your brain. You have a choice. Interrupt or obey. That's the key. Let's be precise. Discomfort is not danger. Your brain confuses the two. Effort feels like threat. Uncertainty feels like risk. Challenge feels like exposure. But most of the time, discomfort is just growth in work clothes. Hard conversation, growth. Deep work, growth. Training strain, growth. Skill practice, growth. Your brain labels all of it avoid. Your discipline must relabel it advance. Comfort is expensive. Discipline is cheap. Here is a field rule. When the task feels slightly uncomfortable, move toward it, not away from it. That is your growth signal. Most people do the opposite. They use discomfort as a stop sign. Disciplined people use discomfort as a direction sign. You have a choice. Let's talk about the scroll reflex. This is modern comfort on demand. Endless novelty. No effort. No risk, no resistance. It trains your brain to expect stimulation without work. Then, when real work appears, slow, quiet, demanding, your brain rejects it, not because you can't do it, because you trained the wrong reward loop. It's not about distraction, it's about discipline. Install friction against comfort behaviors. Make scrolling harder. Log out. Delete shortcuts. Use blockers. Add time locks. Make comfort inconvenient. Then make discipline convenient. Book on desk. Shoes by door. Task list visible. Timer ready. Design beats willpower. That's the key. Now let's address sleep versus avoidance. Rest is necessary. Avoidance is disguised as rest. Learn the difference. Rest is scheduled and measured. Avoidance is emotional and flexible. I slept enough, but I still don't feel like getting up. That's not recovery. That's comfort reflex. Action creates energy more often than energy creates action. Move first. Wake up through motion, light, water, steps. Not negotiation. You have a choice. Activate or drift. Comfort is expensive. Discipline is cheap. Excuses are another comfort tool. They protect your self-image while killing your progress. Listen carefully. An excuse is emotional comfort purchased with future regret. I didn't have time. It wasn't the right moment. I wasn't ready. Replace excuse language with ownership language. I didn't prioritize it. I chose comfort. I delayed action. That language stings. Good. Sting creates awareness. Awareness creates change. That's the key. You don't need their permission to tell yourself the truth. You need courage and discipline. Now we train discomfort tolerance deliberately. Controlled hardship. Small doses, daily. Cold water at the end of a shower. Last hard rep, not skipped. 5 extra minutes of focus. 1 difficult task first, not last. These are discomfort reps. They rewire your response. They teach your brain. Discomfort is survivable. Action continues. It's not about suffering. It's about discipline. Do not dramatize discomfort. Normalize it. Say this during effort. This is training. During resistance. This is training. During friction. This is training. Because it is. Comfort is expensive. Discipline is cheap. Watch people who stay weak for years. Not incapable, comfortable. They optimized life for ease. Then wonder why strength never arrived. Strength only visits those who tolerate friction. You have a choice. Engineer ease or engineer strength. And remember, you are not removing all comfort from life. You are removing comfort as the decision maker. Comfort can visit. It cannot lead. That's the key. Your mind must learn a new hierarchy. Decision first. Discipline second. Comfort last. Never reversed. Mental obedience requires discomfort tolerance. If every hard feeling stops you, your mind is still in command. When hard feelings no longer stop you, you are in command. Comfort is expensive. Discipline is cheap. Lock that into your behavior, not your notes. Your behavior. You stopped negotiating. Good. You installed systems. Better. Now you are breaking the comfort reflex. Strong. Next, we make your internal promises unbreakable. Because mental authority is built on self-trust, you are training your mind to obey you. Discipline is not built on intensity. It is built on self-trust. If you do not trust your own word, your mind will not obey your commands. It will treat your decisions like suggestions. Flexible, optional, negotiable. That is where most people fail, not in ability, but in authority. They break promises to themselves so often that their brain stops taking them seriously. You say you'll start early. You don't. You say you'll train today. You don't. You say you'll finish the task. You don't. Each broken self-promise is a vote against your authority. If you said it, it happens. That is the rule from now on. Not sometimes, not when convenient. Always. That's the key. You have a choice. Be someone your mind believes, or someone your mind ignores. understand this clearly. Every time you break your word to yourself, you weaken internal command. Your brain learns a pattern. This person talks, but does not execute. Execution drops, resistance rises, delay becomes normal. It's not about motivation. It's about discipline. You don't need their permission to become internally reliable. You need behavioral honesty. Let's get precise. A self-promise is not a wish. It is not a preference. It is a contract. With consequences. Most people make too many promises and keep too few. That destroys identity. The solution is not more promises. The solution is smaller, stricter promises, micro-promises, small enough to execute, serious enough to matter. If you said it, it happens. Examples. I will do 10 push-ups. I will read 5 pages. I will work 20 focused minutes. I will wake at 7. Not heroic, not dramatic, executable. When you keep micro-promises daily, something powerful happens. Your self-image changes. You begin to see yourself as someone who follows through. Identity shifts through evidence, not affirmation. That's the key. Confidence is not built by thinking positive thoughts. Confidence is built by keeping behavioral promises. Proof, not praise. You have a choice. Impress yourself or lie to yourself. Let's talk about silent damage. When you break promises to others, you feel guilt. When you break promises to yourself, you feel nothing at first. That's why it's dangerous. No social penalty, no public consequence, only internal erosion. But your brain records it. Authority drops quietly. If you said it, it happens. From today forward, reduce your promise volume and increase your promise integrity. Say less. Execute more. Do not say I'll try. That phrase is a loophole. Replace it with either I will or I won't. Binary language builds decisive identity. It's not about intention, it's about discipline. Here is a daily drill called the Promise Ledger. Each morning write 3 behavioral promises you will complete that day. Only 3. All measurable or realistic. Example. Train 20 minutes. Complete task A. Review goals at night. During the day, execution is non-negotiable. At night, you score yourself pass or fail. No stories. No emotional essays. Only outcome. This builds internal credibility fast. That's the key. Another rule. Never stack lies with complexity. When you miss a promise, do not explain. Repair. Do it immediately in smaller form. Missed a 30-minute workout? Do 5 minutes now. Missed 20 pages? Read 2 now. Missed deep work? Do 10 focused minutes now. Repair speed matters more than failure absence. You have a choice. Excuse or repair. If you said it, it happens. Let's remove another weakness. Public promises without private structure. Telling others your goals gives emotional relief without execution proof. It feels like progress. It is not. Talk less. Track more. You don't need their permission or applause. You need private completion. Silence plus execution builds real authority. It's not about announcing. It's about discipline. Your calendar is a promise system. Your task list is a promise system. Your alarms are promises with sound. Treat them seriously. When the reminder triggers, action begins, not delay. Condition the response. Alarm equals action. List item equals start. Schedule equals move. Automatic obedience. That's the key. Now let's address identity repair for those who say, I've broken too many promises already. Good. Awareness is the starting line, not the finish line. You rebuild self-trust the same way you build physical strength. Progressive load. Start smaller than you think you should. Win repeatedly. Stack proof. Increase gradually. 5 minutes daily beats 0 minutes heroically. If you said it, it happens. Say it again internally. If I said it, it happens. This is how you turn decisions into law. Notice the language shift. Not I hope, not I plan. Law. Personal law. Law removes mood from the process. Law removes debate. Law creates predictability. You have a choice: suggestion mindset or law mindset. Watch disciplined operators. When they schedule something, it is already done in their mind. Only the physical execution remains. No reconsideration window. Install that standard. Pre-decide once, execute many times. That's the key. Another behavioral tool, the 2-day rule. Never break a self-promise 2 days in a row. 1 miss can be error. 2 becomes pattern. Guard the second day aggressively. You don't need their permission to enforce standards on yourself. You need respect for your own future. And understand this: when your word becomes law internally, mental noise drops. Decision fatigue drops. Hesitation drops, because the debate is already closed. Obedience becomes faster. You are training your mind to trust your commands. If you said it, it happens. This is not rigidity. This is self-respect in action. You are no longer hoping your mind cooperates. You are conditioning it to comply. You stop negotiating. Good. You built systems. Better. You killed the comfort reflex. Strong. Now you are making your word law. Stronger, because mental obedience stands on one foundation: self-trust. Break that, and discipline collapses. Build that, and discipline compounds. You have a choice: be internally unreliable or internally unbreakable. That's the key. Now that your word carries weight, we move to the highest leverage window of control: the opening of your day, where mental dominance is either established or surrendered. You made your word law. Now you control the start. Your day does not start at noon. It does not start when you feel ready. It starts the moment you wake up, and that first hour decides who leads, you or your impulses. Most people lose the mental battle before breakfast. They reach for the phone. They open messages. They invite the world into their head before they establish control over it. That is surrender, not routine. Win the first hour, win the mind. That's the anchor. Repeat it. Win the first hour, win the mind. Your brain in the first hour after waking is highly programmable, neurologically flexible, suggestible, direction sensitive. Cortisol rises, alertness ramps, attention pathways open. Whatever you feed it first becomes the tone setter. Input becomes direction, random input, random focus. Intentional input, directed focus. That's the key. You have a choice: program your mind, or let the feed program it. It's not about morning preference. It's about discipline. When you start the day with reaction, you stay reactive. When you start with command, you stay directive. Phone-first mornings create scattered thinking. Task-first mornings create controlled thinking. You don't need their permission to protect your first hour. You need a rule. Here is the rule: no phone for the first hour. None. No scrolling. No messages. No news. No notifications. People resist this because it feels extreme. Good. Discipline often does. Comfort says check. Discipline says build. Comfort is expensive. Discipline is cheap. Win the first hour, win the mind. Let's talk biology for a moment. Your dopamine baseline is fragile in the morning. If you spike it instantly with novelty, social media, headlines, stimulation, normal work feels dull afterward. Focus drops. Patience drops. Effort feels heavier. You train distraction before discipline. Reverse it. Effort first. Stimulus later. You have a choice. Now, here is your first hour protocol. Strict, simple, repeatable, no creativity required. Systems beat moods. Minute 05, immediate rise. No snooze. Stand up fast. Light on. Water in. Movement begins. You break sleep inertia with motion, not negotiation. If you said you'd wake, it happens. Minute 5 to 15, physical activation. Walk, stretch, push-ups, mobility, anything that raises heart rate slightly. This tells the brain we are active, not passive. Body leads, mind follows. It's not about intensity, it's about discipline. Minute 15 to 25, mental alignment. Review your top 3 tasks for the day. Written, visible. No vague goals, specific outcomes, not work on project. But complete section 2. Clarity reduces drift. That's the key. Minute 25:55. Priority work block. The most important task starts here. Not email, not admin, not easy wins. Real work. Hard work. Meaningful work. Before the world speaks, you execute. Win the first hour. Win the mind. Minute 55 to 60. Reset and plan next block. Stand. Breathe. Write the next action step for later. Close the loop cleanly. That is the protocol. No phone. Movement first. Priority task first. Sequence locked. You don't need their permission to run your morning like an operator. You need standards. Let's address the common excuse. My mornings are busy. Good. Then structure matters more, not less. Even a compressed first hour can follow order. 5 minutes movement. 5 minutes planning. 20 minutes priority task. Compressed discipline still beats extended chaos. You have a choice, structured start or scattered start. Watch high performers across fields. They protect their mornings aggressively. Writers write. Athletes train. Leaders think. They do not donate their cognitive prime time to inboxes and feeds. They invest, not spend, their best hour. That's the key. Another rule. No decision-heavy tasks in the first hour except your priority work. Decision fatigue grows across the day. Use peak clarity for creation, not consumption. Create first. Consume later. It's not about information. It's about discipline. If you start with consumption, you become a responder. If you start with creation, you remain a driver. Driver beats responder. Win the first hour. Win the mind. Let's add a control layer. Morning environment locks. Phone outside the room. Work clothes visible. Notebook open on desk. Task already defined the night before. Remove friction from discipline. Add friction to distraction. Design beats willpower. That's the key. And understand, the first hour is not about perfection, it's about authority. You are proving something to your mind. Early, I lead here. That proof echoes across the day. Early win, stronger identity. Early drift, weaker control. You have a choice. Some mornings you will feel slow. Act anyway. Some mornings you will feel resistance. Execute anyway. The first hour is not a mood test. It is a command test. It is a command test. If you said it, it happens. Say that when the alarm rings. If I said it, it happens. This is mental obedience training in real time. Parents train children with morning structure because it stabilizes behavior. You must train your mind the same way. Routine reduces rebellion. Structure reduces negotiation. Win the first hour. Win the mind. Track your first hour for 7 days. Score it pass or fail. No partial credit. Either you followed the protocol or you didn't. Awareness drives correction. It's not about guilt, it's about discipline. By now you see the pattern across this audiobook. Fast obedience, systems over mood, discomfort over ease, word as law, and now controlled beginnings. Because when the beginning is strong, the chain holds. You are not trying to have better days. You are installing better command. You have a choice. Guard your first hour or lose your mental ground early. That's the key. You control the start. Good. Now we go deeper. We remove another hidden drain on discipline. Too many decisions in the moment. Reduce choice. Increase obedience. Choice feels like freedom, but too much choice destroys execution. Every extra decision is a delay point. Every delay point is a weakness point. When action depends on repeated decision-making, discipline collapses under fatigue. You think you need more options. You don't. You need fewer decisions. Decide once. Execute daily. That's the anchor. Lock it in. Decide once. Execute daily. High performers do not decide important behaviors every day. They decide them once, then they repeat them automatically. That's the key. You have a choice. Decide repeatedly or execute repeatedly. It's not about flexibility, it's about discipline. Look at military training. Soldiers drill the same movements again and again, not because they lack intelligence, but because they remove hesitation. Under pressure, there is no debate, only execution. Pre-decided action beats emotional reaction. Athletes do the same warm-up, same sequence, same timing. Before every performance, ritual replaces randomness. Why? Because routine reduces cognitive load. Less thinking, more doing. You don't need their permission to simplify your behavior. You need operational clarity. Too many people wake up and ask, "What should I do today?" That question is already a problem. Critical actions should not be daily questions. They should be permanent answers. Training time, fixed. Work block, fixed. Study hour, fixed. No daily vote. Decide once, execute daily. Let's talk about hesitation loops. This is where discipline quietly dies. You stand at the edge of action, and your mind opens options, now or later. Hard task or easy task. Work or rest first. Options multiply. Action stalls. Choice overload creates paralysis, not power. You have a choice. Close options or open excuses. That's the key. Here is a rule. Convert repeated decisions into fixed rules. Not should I work out today, but I work out Monday to Friday. Not when should I focus, but I focus from 9 to 11. Rules remove internal meetings. It's not about restriction, it's about discipline. Consider clothing. Some top performers wear nearly the same outfit daily, not for image, for efficiency. One less decision, more mental energy preserved for real work. You waste discipline every time you debate small things. Pre-decide the small. Save power for the big. Decide once, execute daily. Now we build your no-choice zones. These are behaviors that are automatic, non-negotiable, triggered by time or event, not feeling. Examples: wake time, fixed. First hour protocol, fixed. Training days, fixed. Deep work block, fixed. Write them down as laws, not hopes. You don't need their permission to operate with personal laws. You need standards. Another tool. Default actions. Define what you do when conditions are imperfect. If gym closed, home workout. If meeting cancelled, deep work block. If tired, reduced version, not zero version. Never zero. Always default. You have a choice. Skip or scale. That's the key. Military units use contingency defaults constantly. If plan A fails, plan B is already defined. No emotional collapse. Only directional shift. Build your plan B in advance. It's not about perfection. It's about discipline. Let's address food, sleep, and work timing. 3 areas where daily choice destroys consistency. Pre-plan meals or meal types. Preset sleep window. Pre-assign work blocks. Remove daily negotiation. When it's time, it's time. Decide once, execute daily. Another execution killer is optional start times. Sometime in the morning is not a system, it's a suggestion. Suggestions invite delay. Convert windows into points. Not morning, 7 a.m., not afternoon, 2 p.m. Precision increases obedience. That's the key. You have a choice. Be precise or be inconsistent. Now let's talk about emotional choice. Many people decide based on mood signals. That must end. Mood is input, not authority. Create mood-proof rules. I start work at 9, regardless of how I feel. I train at 6, regardless of energy. I write daily, regardless of inspiration. Mood can speak. It cannot vote. You don't need their permission, even from your emotions, to follow your rule set. It's not about feelings. It's about discipline. Use checklists. Checklists are anti-hesitation tools. Pilots use them, surgeons use them, engineers use them, because memory and emotion are unreliable under pressure. Your morning checklist, your shutdown checklist, your trading checklist. Follow steps, reduce thought, increase execution. Decide once, execute daily. Let's install a powerful behavioral device, the if-then lock. If it is 9 p.m., then device is off. If it is Sunday, then weekly review. If alarm rings, then feet on floor. Pre-link condition to action. This turns life into triggers, not debates. You have a choice, link or linger, and understand this. Removing choice does not remove freedom, it removes friction. The paradox is real. Structured behavior creates creative space. When basics are automatic, higher thinking expands. Chaos steals cognitive bandwidth. Order restores it. That's the key. Some people resist fixed rules because they fear boredom. Good. Boredom tolerance is a discipline multiplier. If you need constant novelty, you cannot build deep consistency. Repetition is not punishment. Repetition is programming. Decide once, execute daily. Say it again internally. Decide once, execute daily. You are training your mind to obey pre-commands, not emotional impulses, not environmental pulls. Pre-commands. This is mental automation. You stopped negotiating. You built systems. You killed the comfort reflex. You made your word law. You controlled your first hour. Now you are removing choice from critical actions. Strong, because obedience becomes easier when options disappear. You have a choice. Fewer decisions. Stronger execution. That's the key. Next, we remove another illusion, the belief that you must feel ready before you move. You don't. Action comes first. Emotion follows. Most people wait to feel ready before they act. That is why most people stay stuck. They wait for confidence before speaking, energy before training, motivation before working, clarity before starting, and they wait so long that nothing happens. You must reverse the order. Action first, emotion second. Move first, feel later. That's the anchor. Repeat it until it overrides your habits. Move first, feel later. Your brain lies about readiness. It tells you that emotion must come before execution. That is false. In real performance, behavior creates emotion, not the reverse. Motion generates momentum. Momentum generates feeling. That's the key. You have a choice. Wait to feel or act to create feeling. It's not about mood, it's about discipline. Look at real-world behavior. You don't feel like going to the gym. You go anyway. 10 minutes in, your state changes. Energy rises. Focus sharpens. Resistance drops. The action created the emotion. Writers experience the same. They don't feel inspired. They start writing. 2 paragraphs later, ideas appear. Flow follows motion. Speakers, too, nervous before the first sentence, steady after the 3rd minute. Stability follows engagement. Move first, feel later. But most people worship the wrong sequence. They say, "I'll start when I feel confident." That sentence has killed more progress than failure ever did. Confidence is built by acting while uncertain, not waiting until certainty appears. You don't need their permission to act before you feel ready. You need courage and discipline. Let's define the trap clearly. Emotion-led behavior creates inconsistency. Action-led behavior creates reliability. If you only act when you feel like it, your output will match your moods. And moods are unstable. Unstable driver, unstable results. You have a choice. Let's make this operational. From now on, emotions are signals, not commands. They report state. They do not decide action. Tired, noted. Still act. Nervous, noted. Still speak. Unmotivated, noted. Still start. It's not about emotion. It's about discipline. Move first. Feel later. Here is a tool, the 5-minute entry. When you resist starting a task, commit to 5 minutes of action only. No promise beyond that. just 5 minutes. This bypasses emotional resistance. The brain accepts small starts. Once engaged, continuation becomes easier. Entry beats intensity. That's the key. Real scenario. You must work, but you feel flat. Instead of waiting for drive, you start a 5-minute timer and begin the first step. Open file, write lines, review notes. Momentum appears after motion. Another scenario. You must make a difficult call. Anxiety rises. Instead of rehearsing fear, you dial immediately. Script ready. First sentence spoken fast. Fear drops after engagement. Engagement dissolves hesitation. You have a choice. Engage or enlarge fear. Fear grows in delay. It shrinks in action. Move first. Feel later. Let's address nervous speaking. Many people say, "I'm not a confident speaker." Wrong frame. Confidence is not a prerequisite. It is a byproduct. Speak while nervous. Confidence grows. Avoid speaking. Fear grows. Exposure builds authority. It's not about personality. It's about discipline. Athletes know this rule. They do not wait to feel perfect before training. They train into readiness. Warm-up creates performance state, not the other way around. Warm-up is action that creates emotion. Build warm-up rituals for hard tasks. Before deep work, review plan and start timer. Before calls, stand and walk while dialing. Before training, play one trigger song and start first set. Trigger, action, state change. That's the key. You don't need their permission to begin badly. You need permission to begin, period. Perfection delay is emotional avoidance wearing professional clothing. Not ready yet often means uncomfortable starting. Call it what it is. You have a choice. Start imperfect or delay perfectly. Move first, feel later. Another field instruction. Separate start quality from finish quality. Your only job at the beginning is to start, not to be brilliant, not to be smooth, just to engage. Bad starts often produce good finishes. No starts produce nothing. It's not about polish. It's about discipline. Let's talk about uncertainty. Many people freeze when they don't know the full path. They want complete clarity before first movement. That is not how progress works. Clarity comes from contact, not contemplation. You learn by entering, not by waiting. Start the project. Open the tool. Run the first test. Draft the first version. Information appears through action. That's the key. You have a choice. Seek certainty or create it. Now, emotional weather will change daily. Some days you will feel strong. Some days dull. Some days resistant. Your system must be emotion-proof. Emotion-proof means action happens anyway. Say this line when resistance appears. State is not command. Repeat it. State is not command. Move first, feel later. Let's install a physical override technique. When hesitation appears, use a countdown and movement combo. Count 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Move physically toward the task. Stand, step, reach, click, dial, lift. Counting interrupts emotional looping. Movement seals the override. This is mechanical discipline, reliable discipline. You don't need their permission to override your feelings. You need a trained interrupt. It's not about suppression. It's about discipline. Over time, this rewires identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone who needs to feel ready. You become someone who starts on command. Identity shifts through repeated action-first behavior. You have a choice, emotion-led identity or action-led identity. That's the key. And remember, the mind learns from evidence. Each time you act before emotion, you cast a vote. I lead, not my mood. That is mental authority. You are training obedience through sequence. Decision, action, action, emotion, not reversed. Move first, feel later. Lock it in. You removed negotiation. You built systems. You killed the comfort reflex. You made your word law. You controlled your first hour. You removed excess choice. Now you act before emotion. Your mind is losing its excuses. Next, we increase your mental strength by deliberately using resistance as training weight, not something to avoid. You act before you feel. Good. Now you train under friction. Most people try to remove friction from their lives. They want smooth days, easy starts, comfortable routines, low resistance. That instinct is natural, and it is exactly why mental strength stays weak. Strength is not built in comfort. Strength is built in resistance. Mental discipline follows the same law as muscle growth. Stress, applied correctly, builds capacity. Avoided stress builds fragility. Friction is training, not punishment. That's the anchor. Repeat it. Friction is training, not punishment. When a muscle meets resistance, it adapts. When your mind meets resistance and you act anyway, it adapts the same way. But most people mislabel friction. They call it a bad sign, a stop signal, a reason to delay. It is not a stop sign. It is a training signal. That's the key. You have a choice. Interpret friction as threat or as training. It's not about struggle. It's about discipline. Think about physical training. The last rep burns. The lungs strain. The muscles shake. That discomfort is not damage. It is stimulus. Without it, there is no growth. Mental reps work the same way. Finishing a task when bored. Rep. Starting when resistant. Rep. Continuing when distracted. Rep. Holding silence when you want escape. Rep. Count those reps. Friction is training, not punishment. Weak minds avoid friction. Strong minds use friction. Avoidance feels smart in the moment. It feels like self-protection. But it is long-term self-sabotage because avoided friction becomes increased sensitivity. Small tasks start to feel heavy. Minor discomfort feels overwhelming. Tolerance shrinks when not used. You have a choice: build tolerance or build fragility. Now we introduce controlled hardship. This is deliberate, safe, structured friction used to strengthen mental obedience, not extreme, not reckless. Controlled, because discipline is trained, not wished. Exercise 1. Cold finish showers. Not full cold if unsafe for you, but a cold finish for 30 to 60 seconds at the end. You stand still. You breathe steady. You do not escape early. Why? Because you are practicing non-reactive endurance. Sensation without surrender. You are telling your mind, discomfort does not command me. That's the key. Exercise 2. Timed deep work blocks. Set a visible timer for 25 to 45 minutes. Single task. No switching. No checking. No stimulation breaks. When the urge to switch appears, you stay. That urge is friction. That moment is the rep. Most people break there. You don't. Friction is training, not punishment. Exercise 3. Silence periods. 10 to 20 minutes daily with no audio, no scrolling, no input. Sit, walk, think. Let mental noise surface without escape. Why? Because constant stimulation weakens focus endurance. Silence rebuilds it. It's not about meditation style. It's about discipline. You don't need their permission to be alone with your thoughts. You need mental stamina. You have a choice: constant input or controlled silence. Exercise 4. Finish lines. Each day pick one small task you will finish completely. Even if you get bored halfway, completion under boredom is a powerful mental rep. Starting builds activation. Finishing builds authority. Authority matters more. That's the key. Let's talk about boredom friction. Modern brains are overstimulated. When stimulation drops, discomfort rises. People call it boredom. It is actually dopamine recalibration. If you cannot work without stimulation, your discipline is externally powered and therefore weak. Train low stimulation work. No music sometimes. No background video. Just task and attention. Friction is training, not punishment. Another rep. Delayed gratification drills. When you want to check something, wait 10 minutes. When you want the snack, delay 10 minutes. When you want to respond, pause and write a better response. Delay builds command over impulse. Impulse untrained becomes addiction. Impulse trained becomes power. You have a choice. It's not about denial. It's about discipline. Now understand this. Friction must be progressive. Do not jump to extremes. That becomes drama, not discipline. Increase gradually, like weight on a bar. Longer focus blocks, colder finishes, harder tasks first, more frequent completions. Progressive load builds durable strength. That's the key. Label friction correctly in real time. When you feel resistance, say internally, training rep, not this sucks, not I hate this. Language changes response. Training rep means value, meaning increases endurance. You don't need their permission to reframe discomfort. You need control of your internal language. Let's address emotional friction, criticism, rejection, awkwardness. These are also reps if handled with discipline. Instead of emotional retreat, use behavioral steadiness. Receive, assess, adjust. Continue, no collapse, no drama, just adaptation. Friction is training, not punishment. Watch elite performers. They do not pray for easy conditions. They train in hard ones because they know pressure reveals gaps and builds capacity. Pressure avoided creates panic later. Pressure practiced creates calm later. You have a choice. Practice under friction or panic under pressure. Another drill, the last 5 minutes rule. When you want to quit a work block, add 5 more minutes. Just 5. This trains finish strength. Most breakthroughs happen just beyond the first quit signal. Extend slightly. Win mentally. That's the key. Remember, you are not chasing suffering, you are installing resilience. There is a difference. Suffering is uncontrolled pain. Training is controlled stress. Choose controlled stress. It's not about harshness. It's about discipline. Your mind becomes obedient when it learns one pattern. Discomfort appears. Action continues. Not stops. Continues. Install that pattern enough times, and hesitation weakens automatically. You have a choice. Stop at friction, or step into it. Say it again. Friction is training, not punishment. You are stacking mental reps now. Negotiation is weaker. Systems are stronger. Comfort reflex is reduced. Word is law. Action comes before emotion. Choice is reduced. First hour is controlled. This is mental conditioning in layers. Next, we lock this behavior into your identity, because the strongest discipline comes from who you believe you are, not what you try to do. You trained under friction. Good. Now we make discipline part of your identity code. Willpower is weak when identity is unclear. If you rely only on willpower, you will win some days and lose many. Because willpower is emotional fuel. It runs low, it fluctuates, it burns out. Identity does not fluctuate the same way. Identity is a decision about who you are and what people like you do. That's the key. Disciplined behavior becomes automatic when it is tied to identity, not effort. Stop saying, "I'm trying to be disciplined." That sentence keeps discipline outside you, like a visitor. Temporary, optional. Replace it with identity language. I am disciplined. I am someone who executes. I am someone who finishes. This is not affirmation fluff. This is behavioral positioning. This is what I do, not what I try. That's the anchor. Repeat it. This is what I do, not what I try. You have a choice. Borrow discipline through effort, or own it through identity. It's not about willpower, it's about discipline. Look at how identity works in other areas. A professional does not try to show up. A pilot does not try to run checks. A surgeon does not try to prepare. It is who they are. The behavior is attached to identity. No debate, no drama, just alignment. When identity is clear, decisions are faster. That's the key. Most people sabotage themselves with weak identity scripts. I'm bad at routines. I'm not consistent. I've never been disciplined. Those are not observations, they are instructions. Your brain executes what your identity declares. Change the script, change the pattern. You don't need their permission to rewrite your identity. You need evidence and repetition. Identity is built from proof, not slogans. Proof comes from kept promises, completed reps, repeated action under friction. That's why everything you built in the previous chapters matters. You are collecting identity evidence. Every kept micro-promise says, I am reliable. Every fast start says, I am decisive. Every finished task says, I am a finisher. Stack enough evidence, identity shifts. This is what I do, not what I try. Let's make this operational. Use identity tags. Short behavior-linked identity statements you repeat before action. Before work, I am someone who starts fast. Before training, I am someone who shows up. Before finishing, I am someone who completes. Not emotional, operational. You have a choice. Drift with old labels or install new ones. That's the key. Now understand, identity-based discipline reduces temptation power. Because temptation is filtered through self-image, if you believe I am a disciplined eater, junk food becomes identity conflict, not just diet conflict. If you believe I am a daily writer, skipping writing feels inconsistent, not optional. Identity creates internal friction against bad choices. It's not about restriction, it's about discipline. Let's use your required phrase structure correctly. It's not about motivation, it's about discipline. It's not about talent, it's about discipline. It's not about mood, it's about discipline. Identity locks that in place. Another tool, the identity question. When facing a decision, ask, what would a disciplined operator do here? Then do that, immediately. Not what you feel like doing, not what is easiest, what the identity does. Answer, act, done. That's the key. Real-world examples. Alarm rings. Old identity, snoozer. New identity, riser. You stand up immediately. Identity vote cast. Work gets boring. Old identity, avoider. New identity, finisher. You continue. Identity vote cast. Task is unclear. Old identity, procrastinator. New identity, starter. You begin anyway. Identity vote cast. Votes build identity, not thoughts. This is what I do, not what I try. Drop the word try from your disciplined vocabulary. Try is a psychological escape hatch. It pre-forgives failure. I'll try means I might not. Replace with I will or I won't. Binary language builds decisive identity. You have a choice. You don't need their permission to be decisive. You need standards. Now, a warning. Do not build identity around outcomes alone. Build it around behaviors. Outcomes are delayed. Behaviors are daily. Not I am successful, but I am someone who executes daily. Behavior identity is controllable. Outcome identity is not. That's the key. Use visible identity cues, environment signals that reinforce who you are becoming. Clean desk operator identity. Planned schedule. Disciplined identity. Training gear, ready. Athlete identity. Daily checklist. Executor identity. Your environment should vote for your identity. It's not about aesthetics, it's about discipline. Let's go deeper. When you break behavior, do not attack identity. Adjust behavior fast and reaffirm identity. Wrong. I failed. I'm not disciplined. Correct. I broke pattern. I correct immediately. I am disciplined. Protect identity. Repair behavior. You have a choice. Collapse identity or correct action. Another identity builder. Public standards. Private enforcement. You may tell people your standards, but you enforce them when alone. Private obedience builds real identity. Alone discipline is true discipline. This is what I do, not what I try. Say it again internally. This is what I do, not what I try. Over time, discipline stops feeling forced. It feels normal. Because identity reduces internal argument. You no longer ask, should I? You say, I do. That shift is everything. That's the key. Willpower says push harder. Identity says act normally. Normal is stronger than intense. You are not trying to become disciplined anymore. You are behaving as a disciplined person behaves, repeatedly, until it is automatic. You have a choice. Chase discipline, or become disciplined. You removed negotiation. You built systems. You killed the comfort reflex. You made your word law. You controlled your first hour. You removed excess choice. You acted before emotion. You trained under friction. Now you changed identity. Mental obedience is almost complete. One final layer remains: your operating code, a simple, non-negotiable rule set that runs your behavior daily without debate. Identity is installed. Good. Now we lock everything into a permanent execution code. You don't need more tips. You don't need more motivation. You don't need more theory. You need an operating code, a simple, repeatable, non-negotiable rule set that runs your behavior when emotions fluctuate and conditions change. Because discipline fails when rules are loose. Discipline holds when rules are fixed. Today you install your no-excuse operating code. 5 rules. Daily execution. No interpretation drift. No debate. No delay. No exception. That is the closing mantra. Repeat it now. No debate. No delay. No delay. No exception. That's the key. You have a choice. Live by mood or live by code. It's not about inspiration. It's about discipline. These 5 rules combine everything you built so far. Fast action. Self-trust. Reduced choice. Friction training. Identity execution. All in one structure. Rule 1. Act fast. When a decision is made, movement starts immediately. Not later. Not after thinking again. Immediately. Speed is a discipline tool. Slowness invites negotiation. Negotiation invites escape. 5-second start. Physical movement. Task initiation. Open the file. Put on the shoes. Make the call. Start the rep. You don't need their permission to move fast. You need command. A command delayed is a command denied. You learned that early. Now it becomes permanent law. You have a choice. Fast start or slow sabotage. No debate. No delay. No exception. Rule 2. Keep your word. Your word to yourself is law. Small promises, fully kept. Daily. If you said it, it happens. Not emotionally, operationally. 3 daily promises written, 3 daily promises completed. Miss once, repair fast. Never miss twice by rule. It's not about perfection, it's about discipline. Self-trust is your command authority. Without it, the code collapses. With it, obedience becomes automatic. That's the key. You don't need their permission to respect your own word. You need standards. No debate, no delay, no exception. Rule 3. Remove choice from critical actions. Your most important behaviors are pre-decided, scheduled, triggered, automated. Wake time, fixed. Work block, fixed. Training, fixed. Review, fixed. No daily voting, no emotional override. Decide once, execute daily. Choice is for strategy, not for core habits. You have a choice: pre-decide, or constantly re-decide and weaken execution. It's not about restriction, it's about discipline. Install if-then locks. If it's 6 a.m., I rise. If it's 9, I start deep work. If it's Sunday, I review. Triggers replace hesitation. That's the key. No debate, no delay, no delay, no exception. Rule 4. Embrace discomfort. Discomfort is not your enemy. It is your training partner. When friction appears, action continues. That is the rule. Bored. Continue. Tired. Scale. Don't skip. Nervous. Start anyway. Unsure. Begin small. Friction is training, not punishment. Say it again. Friction is training, not punishment. Daily discomfort reps stay in your schedule. Cold finish showers, focused work blocks, silence periods, last 5 minutes extended. You don't need their permission to be uncomfortable. You need resilience training. You have a choice. Avoid friction or grow from it. It's not about ease, it's about discipline. No debate, no delay, no exception. Rule 5. Finish what you start. Starting builds activation. Finishing builds identity. You are now a finisher. Partial execution weakens authority. Completion strengthens it. Each day includes at least one defined finish line. One task completed fully. Closed loop. No drift. Define done before you begin. Report sent. Pages written. Workout completed. Section finalized. Done means done, not almost. This is what I do, not what I try. That identity phrase stays active here. You have a choice. Leave open loops, or close them with authority. That's the key. No debate. No delay. No delay. No exception. Now we bind the 5 rules together into a daily mental checklist. Run this every morning, out loud if possible. Act fast. Keep my word. Remove choice. Embrace discomfort. Finish tasks. 5 lines. 1 code. This is your internal operating system. It replaces mood leadership with rule leadership. It's not about personality. It's about discipline. Let's pressure test the code in real scenarios. You wake up tired. Code says act fast. You stand anyway. You want to skip training. Code says remove choice. It's scheduled. You go. You feel resistance at work. Code says embrace discomfort. You start a timed block. You want to postpone a promise. Code says keep your word. You execute. You get bored halfway through. Code says finish. You complete. The code answers before emotion speaks. That's the key. You don't need their permission to live by code. You need commitment to repetition. Some days you will follow the code cleanly, some days imperfectly, but the code stays unchanged. You adjust behavior, not standards. Never lower the code to match your mood. Raise your action to match the code. You have a choice. Understand this. Excuses cannot survive structured code. Excuses require gray areas. Your code removes gray areas. Binary execution. Clear triggers. Defined finishes. No space for stories. It's not about reasons. It's about discipline. Write the mantra where you work, where you wake, where you decide. No debate. No delay. No delay. No exception. Again. No debate. No delay. No exception. This is mental obedience in final form, not motivation, not emotion, not hype, code. You trained your mind chapter by chapter. You stopped negotiating. You built systems. You killed the comfort reflex. You made your word law. You controlled your first hour. You removed excess choice. You acted before emotion. You trained through friction. You installed identity. Now you live by code. Your mind is no longer your negotiator. It is your instrument. You have a choice. Drift back or operate forward. That's the key. You installed the code. Good. Now you're ready for the final lock, the closing command, where everything becomes one direct challenge. Discipline is not intensity. It is obedience to your own command. You now understand the rules. Act immediately. Remove negotiation. Keep your word. Move before emotion and choose identity over excuses. Your mind will still resist. That is expected. Resistance is not a stop sign. It is the training weight. From this moment forward, you do not ask how you feel. You ask what must be done. You do not wait for clarity. You create it through action. You do not search for motivation. You execute systems. Starting today, every small promise you keep is a vote for your authority. Every fast action is a brick in your mental armor. Your challenge is simple and non-negotiable. For the next 7 days, obey your decisions immediately. No delay, no internal debate, no emotional voting. Prove to yourself that your mind follows your command. Training begins now.